All right, hey folks, Spelljammer just dropped, so let's jam. As I promised before, once this thing dropped, I'd start be able to poke around to see what they got inside there. This thing dropped, I'd start be able to. It's gonna be able to see what's useful to us for us to be able to finish out the in-command project that we've been working on. That is going to rock solid. So, give me a minute here to punch all my signals, and while I'm at it. Check out if you want to hit signals with me, a like, subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter. I am just now dropping hello on Twitter, and now we're going to bounce over to Discord. I'm just going to hit some of the Discord channels that I like real quick before we just dive in deep to check out what we got going on inside here. So let's see, here, and Rich Mary, say what up, and Twitter Corner, say what up. Zipper on, say what up, and Classes and Constructs, love you, man. Dungeoneers Pack, Josh, you're awesome. Shrimp Monk's crew coming at ya. Indestructible Boys Designosphere, love it. DTRPG fan base, you're awesome. Blossom, live streaming into DMsGuild content creators. And shouting my own shits there. And okay, cool. So we got all the signals we need to pop. All right, so let's take a look here. We are going to in the document here, and we're just going to share face. Okay, great. So some of the other stuff we got going on here. I create content on DMsGuild. There is a link down in the description. You click on that, it takes you to a bunch of the books that I've done for 5-color mana spell point variant rules for people that like MTG and D&D. You can use color mana to cast spells instead of spell slots. And let's go into there. There you go. All my stuff is 100% free preview. So you take a look at the book, you can read it cover to cover. If you like it, you buy it. If you don't, let it go. I recommend you play a full 1 to 20 campaign. If you really want to make sure it's something you want to buy, you can complete one in about a year. If you want to go through the paces, at some point maybe you'll decide it's worth your time. So, but beyond that, in addition, is the Patreon link there. So you don't have to be a Patreon to enjoy, but the in-command document that we're looking at today, the Mass Combat and Guild playtest content is free to view. Go to the Patreon link. That just takes you to an about description of what I got going on. You can be a patron if you want, but I don't really have a lot going on there right now. Certainly pick up my books, follow me on Twitter, like, subscribe, etc. So let's see, what we're actually here for is we're looking at right now the Astral Adventures Guide. So here it is on the DMsGuild. You got the full content here for the Astral Adventures Guide, Boo's Astral Menagerie, and Light of Zeresis? Who cares? Anyway, so yeah, here's the adventure that we got going on there. I know, let's see, Wild System, that's what I wanted to look at real quick. There should be a map in here for us to chew on. Thank you. Let's take a closer look at that. So it's a million miles a day, which is a day of travel. Imperial Citadel. 4. The rest of space, 4 million miles, 4-day travels from Zeri. The name of the sun, yo. Cool, that's cool. There we go. 1. Live Arbiter. 1-day travel from Zari. Ribis. 2-day travel from Zari. 3-day, I'm sensing a pattern here. 3 days, and then the Imperial Citadel. 3 days from Zari, and then 4 days out is the Astral Sea. So it looks like what we do when we build the Astral Guide says to look at the adventure for ideas about how to design a system. So it looks pretty clear that they want you to have a central mass, the outer rim, and then put stuff in it. The end. Thanks, Watsy. I'm on board with it though. Super on board with that. It's easy peasy to do. There's countless second edition, third edition, other third-party content stuff about randomly creating systems. I don't honestly. One may expect wizards to do that stuff, but it's pre-built. So planet structure, irregular Earth body, distance to outer edge of the system. Oh yeah, that makes sense because it's 7 days total. Yeah, right on. And that one's the closest. I want to check out the Imperial Citadel because I saw a butterfly and the Armada ship is conspicuously absent from the ship list. So let's see what we can see. Spoilers. Flame, last breath, she was dead. Attacking the Star Moth. Doom space, right one doom space, wall space, nutshell. There, and let's see what you guys have to say about assembling a fleet. We've been assembling armies in Descent into Avernus using the in-command system that we've been playtesting. Maybe these guys are doing something the same. Let's see if they can inspire us. The Armada consists of 30 attacking the Citadel. Assemble the fleet. Each faction that joins the coalition brings a certain number of ships to it, as summarized in the coalition fleet table. The characters convince at least 4 factions to join the coalition. Vocaf decides their cause is worth supporting and telepathically reaches out to some of his Mercane allies who send additional ships. These ships come with their own spell-jamming helms and crews. The Mercane ships have crews pulled from different factions. The Mercanes themselves, of course, stay out of the fight. It takes 10 days for the coalition fleet to assemble, during which time the characters can rest and make any final preps for heading to these areas of space. Kokras, 5, 5, 13, 15, 25 ships. So I can fit all 25 of those ships inside of a 500-foot square. So on a battlefield, all those ships are basically just going to be one 500-foot square block. Actually, 25 ships. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 per. Correction, 5 per 500-foot square. So that's going to be a total of 5 squares that they're going to need inside of a 500-foot. So 5 500-foot squares. That means that they can all fit inside of 1 mile. So we can have a 1 mile scale using these things. Or we can break them up into 5 separate 500 square units where each character is overseeing 6 ships in the squad filling one 500-foot square apiece. As a coordinated attack, each of them would be able to, 50-foot scale does 50 times damage. 500-foot scale also does 500 damage, and then the 1 mile scale does times 1,000 damage. So each character is controlling the 500-foot scale, one wing of the fleet. Then it is going to be, looks like we're at, what is this, 12th level? Gift here, chaos. see what level we're supposed to be at this point. Introduction. Wall space weights. Characters navigate these environments. It's about to change. Plays with someone else. Okay, this adventure has 4 parts, each divided into 3 chapters. Each chapter is designated to run as a single play experience lasting 2 to 3 hours, with the expectation that a group should be able to complete the adventure in 12 sessions of play. Each chapter begins with an overview that gives you a sense of what is ahead for the adventures and recaps what happens thus far, and telling how far a session will unfold. 4 parts. Running the adventure. Old box. Inspiration. Flash Gordon. Starting characters. The adventure assumes the characters start at 5th level. Characters, advancement. At the end of each of the adventure parts, everyone in the party receives enough experience points to advance 1 level, so they are at the level they should be for the next chapter. As shown in the character level table, characters who finish the adventure advances to 9th level. Okay, so it goes to 9th level. That's cool. So let's keep assembling the fleet. Oh, that's interesting. They gave the cream the scorpion ship. That's interesting. I guess they just kind of knocked orcs out of space altogether. I haven't seen much reference to them. No Scro. That's sad. No Scro. From now on, the adventurers make no assumptions about the ships. Before the next session. Assemble the fleet. What are we gonna do with that fleet, huh? What are we gonna do with that fleet? You're gonna do something that's gonna impress me with that fleet. Challenging Ukraine representatives in a duel. Beating blah wrestling match. Skill check, single battle fight. Character must make a case of faction representation and succeed a skill check. And someone can help you with that skill check as per the following rules. And on a skill check, they join. Failed check, the representative declines to join the coalition. And you can't change their mind. So you get 5 rolls, you get 5 teams, 5 ships per roll. Okay. Now it's just, I mean, as a bare bones adventure, that's good enough, right? I mean, like if you want to embellish it, you want to like make more of what's going on inside the adventure than just a single, charisma check to win over 5 ships to help you out. I mean, at the core of the game system, that is how 5e works. That is the social pillar. So why not? I'm sure there's already 4 adventure writers on the DMs Guild taking each one of these things and fleshing them out into becoming its own adventure to convince these guys. But if not, I'll get to it eventually. Hey Spencer, how you doing, man? Right on. Let's see. Assemble the fleet. Right. So once the factions join the coalition, they bring their ships. So let's see. What we're seeing here happening with this is we're seeing a coalition of different Descent into Avernus had 4 Mad Max convoys of infernal war machines that you could fight, potentially take over, and get better trucks, or in our case with the Descent into Avernus playtesting that we're doing, you assemble them all into a larger force. So you have a convoy of 20 some odd trucks with you, so you can start going through there and you can start using your weight to push demon lords around to give you additional resources to the point where you have a ragtag army assembled that can take Zariel or the demons on directly to free Elturel as a show of force, instead of having to ask for favors and potentially gamble people's souls and use that charisma check stuff to get through the game. But doing all right, doing great, man. So this is following a little bit of that same format in that earlier chapter. It was level 6 in Descent into Avernus, where you start accumulating trucks, and here you're at level 8, where you're accumulating squads of ships. So each of these ships are anywhere from 100 to 250 feet long and about 30 feet wide on average, or 20 to 30 feet. So that means that we can reasonably fit 250. Let's see, so that's 500 stacked up in 2. Let's just take a tangent here and go into our dock. Put that away. Okay. So using the rules of In Command, which of course, if you click on if you look at the Patreon link there, it's free. It takes you to the playtest document that we have up, which is here, the In Command Mass Combat and Guild playtest content. And this is me breaking down factions for the Churches of Waterdeep, but that's not relevant at the moment. Where we're at right now is inside of Spelljammer. I'm going to go through and I'm going to pick through to make sure I have all these sizes and names right. And then beyond that, I've been able to crack the nut on rates of fire for siege level equipment fighting at the 500-foot scale, so that you can have the same type of combat at the 500-foot scale as you have at the 5-foot scale. So I know there's a number of mass combat systems that are out there, but so far most of them have stated that either they weren't able or it's not reasonable to be able to have a smooth scaling system that goes from 5 feet up to 5 million miles, or in this case 100 million miles. And I say, you are wrong, look at my document. But the only problem we were having was using this scaling system from 5 feet to 50 feet scale, of bumping up the number of hit points that you have as you increase in scale. It was outpacing the rate of fire that siege weapons are presented as in the DMG and Ghost of Saltmarsh. So we had to resolve the rate of fire issue, which we have successfully done with recharge. So we'll go into that. But right now, what we're doing is we are looking at the Spelljammer content that just got released, and I wanted to see how they work this like how sidelined are they going to make this fight, because this will be another really fun showpiece for me to build a little tear out of the In Command of Spelljammer's rule set that we have as one of the appendices in this playtest content. And then we can drop in this chapter scenario where once you assemble all your ships, here's how you build them out. So right now what we're doing is we're mapping out what these ships look like. So we know that Spelljammers work on the 50-foot scale. So a 5-foot scale map where you're standing there, you know, smoking cigarettes with your buds, you can do that inside of a 10 by 10 space, which is going to be 50 feet. So then we scale out. This is where most people have problems with doing the math and their systems break down. So you go from 5 feet, so then you have 50 feet here, right? And then, so if you have 50 feet, you can go up to 10 by 10, that's 500 feet, right? Spelljammers can go 100 million miles, or they can go all the way down to just a full stop. They have gyroscopic rotation so that they can orient weapons and fire in any direction during the round. The Wizard of the Coast recommends team initiative, and that really helps facilitate this gyroscopic action, so that if you have guns on other sides of the deck that are on different gravity planes and you need to get all 3 of your weapons into position each round to be able to fire on a couple night spiders that are like creeping at the edge of your range, then you don't need to worry about when is the pilot rotating the ship in coordination with when is somebody firing their guns. So it was really actually smart of wizards to have that visual, leave that in that theater of the mind, so you don't have to try to understand how you would coordinate action economy from the Spelljammer ship pilot to do this rotation issue, while theoretically characters are manning different gun stations on siege machineries at various points on the deck. If you have this kind of an angle, the gun back here is probably going to have partial cover against itself to even hit you. And you'd have that benefit there too, but the front end of the ship doesn't have that benefit. So all you gotta do is put it on the ship, and now I gotta rotate my ship so I can get a clear aim shot on you before, like, the Spelljammer could then drop ship like this. I could fire on you this way. So you have these different rotations that you can do with the ship. It's almost like Jeet Kune Do in space. So take that. Everyone's gonna love the monk now because they're super soldiers. Get on with it. I'm just talking nonsense because it's late night and I'm getting punchy on coffee. So I wanted to do this as soon as it dropped. So we're looking at, say, ships, right? Ships, these are 50-foot squares, and we know that ships are generally going to be anywhere from 100 to 250. So I can go like this, and this, and this, and this, and then I can go like this, 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 this. So I can fit small ships like that. I got a small ship like that. You know, I can realistically fit 10 ships. Well, I mean, if I wasn't such a horrible artist, I could do this better. Let's do it like this, and then we'll go like this real quick. I don't even know why I'm mistaking my pain so bad on this, but what I want to do is view, and then we'll go into Windows, and go to Brush. I don't know why I have a point to prove, but I'm trying to prove a point. So you got 1, 2, like this is how big most ships are. There, that's an accurate depiction instead of my schnitzels. There, so I can easily fit 10 ships, especially if we're, I mean, and then if we start, you know, working in 3 dimensions, then, you know, you've got a cube like this. So you could easily do a stack like this, and then you can stack them up this way. So you could have 100 of these ships, 100 250-foot ships inside of a 500 by 500 foot cube. So we don't have to worry about filling the cube. We just know what kind of volume we have so that we can easily demonstrate that a 50-foot ship can be upscaled to the 500-foot scale and have all 10 of them coordinating an attack together, so that if I've got 10 squid ships that are all decked out with trebuchet, and we know from the playtest content that we have that a trebuchet is going to do d8 times 10 damage on a hit. But if you got 10 of these things all coordinated together, then when they attack as a single roll and you hit, then you can just roll d8 times 100 damage, because that's what that fleet of ships did. This would be, what would it be? It'd be like 3,000 hit points between this 500-foot square here, if this is a mile. So if this is a mile, this is a 500-foot square. This 500-foot square represents these 10 ships. Each one of these ships is doing a 1d8, say a 1, it could be a 1, I mean, again, we get the playtest content here, so let's look at it. Weapons. Ship materials. Again, this is in the, this in Command, Mass Combat, and Guild playtest content. This is in the description and the Patreon link. You don't have to be a Patreon member. I just set it there to inspire you to support me on a monthly basis. But you can look at this content for free by clicking into that link. Just reading the description. It has the playtest, the playlist for this development work that I've done. We're on, what is it, session 29 now? And so beyond that, also in that description is the Google Docs link that we're looking at here, that you can go in and you can look at this content with me. We are on page 102 right now, looking at siege weapons, right? So let's see. We're looking at, trebuchet. They do d8 times 10 damage, and they have a 300-foot close range, a 1,200-foot extreme range. And they can't hit things that are 60 feet or less away. So if your ship has nothing but trebuchets and a jammer ship gets within 50 feet of you, if this is a 50-foot scale, and you got these two ships and they come saddling up next to each other, unless you got ballistas on your ship, you can't do siege damage to these things. Like, they can do ramming and, you know, all sorts of horrible stuff to you. So you have to have a mix of weapons on your ship. Trebuchet are by far the heaviest hitters. There's cannons, and we'll get into cannons. I will grudgingly get into cannons, because I do not believe in cannons in my Treasure Planet space. But I recognize their relevance to the genre and to the history from 2E, as well as people's enthusiasm for just guns in space, I guess. So sure, we'll add it in. But for now, we're just gonna go in with this. So if we're looking at these ships, like a ballista only does a d4 times 10, and then mangonels do d6, the trebuchets do d8, and these are all times 10 damage. But if you got 10 of these things firing at the same time, they're not going to do d8 times 10 damage, you're going to do d8 times 100 damage. So if you are, if you have two fleets, and they are this is a 1 mile map, and they're each within 500 feet of each other, we know that the 500-foot scale, a ballista has to be adjacent. So, like, thank you for the reminder. So we are here with one fleet, and we are here with another fleet. At the 500-foot scale, we have to be adjacent to each other to be able to attack. And if we do, we're at disadvantage at that, because ballistas only have 120-foot and 480-foot range. So technically, they can't even fire into an adjacent square, because that's 500 feet. Even though the edge of one is only 5 feet away, while the other one is 500 feet away. We have to granulize, make it more coarse as we go up in level. And the coarser your narration and your mechanics get, the lower level your character becomes. You can have a 20th level character operating at the 500-foot scale, and they feel like second and third level characters. It's awesome. It moves really fast. But also looking here at the mangonel at the 500-foot scale, you can fire without any disadvantage at this range, or you can fire at disadvantage at this range. And the trebuchet at the 500-foot scale, this is within close, like anywhere here and here. This is within close. This is within close range, and then they can go 1, 2. That's 1, 2, 3 squares away. That's the range. This is the mangonel. This is the ballista. I think cannon might be 4. We'll get to it, but I think it's 4, so it'd be 4th rank. So it'd be doing D10 times 10 damage, and that feels pretty appropriate for a cannon. But I don't think that the cannon needs as many people to load and fire, which is different. So the way that so we've got this 500-foot scale. We've got 3,000, like at 3rd rank. These are the defaults that these weapons do. Like if you have 1st rank is up to level 4. This is level 8. This is level 12. So if your characters are level 12 or like level 9 to 12, they're 3rd rank characters. So when they operate these weapons, they would be doing D8 times 10 damage because they're just better at firing weapons at higher levels. That's just how you can scale with siege machinery, which in itself doesn't have any scaling properties. So right off the bat, your rank, or even the rank of your gunner team, can increase the die that you're using. Like a ballista could do a D12 if you are a 17th or higher level character commanding the ship, and the amount of hit points that your ship is going to have is going to increase with the level or the rank of the pilot. 1st rank is 100 hit points per 50-foot square. 5th rank, it's 500 hit points per 50-foot square. So a 250-foot hammer ship piloted by a 1st rank Spelljammer pilot is going to have 500 hit points. That if it is a 5th rank or like a 17th level jammer jockey pilot, then it's going to have 2,500 hit points. And comparatively, the weapons that you're firing at that 5th rank, they're going to be doing D12. It doesn't matter what weapon you're using as long as you have a competent crew on your hands, and you should, because that you're scaling up your crew as you scale up your own level. So you're going to have a D12 times 10 team that's firing on this 2,500 hit point ship, right? So that's like, well, that's only 80 hit points per hit at best. Probably after math is involved, like around 30 hit points. That means I'm gonna have to hit it like what, like 100 times? Like no, you're not, because you have your action economy that goes into it. If you have an untrained crew, it can only fire once per round. It has the crew capacity here. So what we're doing is, and I need to build out the math on this here. Example, ship combat. Let's see. Reload rates. So we should build the reload rank into the ballista. Reload 3. Reload 5. Reload 7. Okay, so there's a recharge mechanic in D&D that when a dragon breathes a breath weapon or some such effects, you'll have a recharge number. So you roll a 6-sided die, and if, like, for example, a blue dragon, an adult blue dragon that shoots lightning out of its face, it can't do it again until it rolls a 5 or a 6, a recharge of 5 or 6. On a D6, and it can make that, and you make that recharge roll at the beginning of each round. In command, our system has the recharge mechanics. You can roll, you can spend an action, you can spend one of your command actions to re-roll the recharge die, and you can use an increasingly larger die to do so as you level up. Let's show you. To the front of the document here. Beep, 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 beep. This looks weird. Burp. Where are you? God, it's just so, it's doing funky scrolling stuff. I don't know what's up with that. Okay, so here's your command dies, right? If you are like a martial character, you're going to have strong, you're a strong commander. If you are a spellcaster, under normal circumstances, there's like a lot of caveats to this stuff, but generally speaking, like a wizard, sorcerer, etc. are weak commanders, and then hybrid characters are average. So when you're doing a recharge, like if your dragon's breath weapon has a recharge of 5 or 6, basically it's a recharge of 5. Then as you gain levels, you roll, whenever you spend an action, you can use your command die to re-roll the recharge. You can see here at 17th level, when you're rocking a D12 die, rolling a 5 on a recharge is pretty good. You're gonna get that automatic recharge at the beginning of the round, but you can expedite making getting that recharge back by rolling a command die. And the higher level you get, the larger your die is, the more likely it is that you're going to accomplish that recharge. So what we're doing within command to increase the rate of fire with weapons, and I love this. So what we do is we have the crew of the ship is the recharge rate, and you can see here that like a ballista that does D4. If we go back to our documents, at first level, everyone's rocking a D4. And the strong commanders get a D6 sooner, but everyone gets there eventually. And eventually we get up to a D8, right? So that means that everyone is going to be able to expedite using trebuchet, mangonel, mangonel, ballistas, mangonels, and trebuchets. You got to reload on a 7, right? So that means that if you are pulling a D8, it is possible for you to get your crew to reload that trebuchet faster than just once a round. What you do is you commit your action. The way that attacks work with the in-command system is you roll a D20 and... Where'd it go? Thank you. You roll a D20 and you add your command die and your rank. Your rank acts like an ability modifier, and your command die replaces your proficiency modifier. So, and there's a feat down here that you can choose, like charisma, for instance. You could choose charisma as instead of your rank when you're making command checks. So a first level commander, like V-Human, or at 4th level when you gain a feat, you could spend that feat to become a charismatic commander. So instead of having say at first level a D4 plus 1 to add to your D20, if you take charismatic commander and you have, say, paladin 18, you'd be adding a D4 plus 4 plus your D20. It says level 26 and level 16. Oh, hey, thanks. Boop. Corrected. Not edited yet. This is so rough. It hasn't even gone. This is like, everything in here is the way that I build mechanical development so that people can grok stuff well enough to playtest content. Thank you for catching that. But disclaimer, this hasn't even gone through its first editing pass, hasn't even gone through its first draft pass. We got Ukulele Bard is doing a cleanup on this to hopefully consolidate both the front end and the second section so that the squad and the army can just smoothly scale into the same section. So he's going to be doing work with the actual text in the document. Once he gets through with the first draft, we'll hand it off to Adam Hancock, and he'll do proofreading and editing beyond. Then he'll hand it back to us with his edit takes on it. Uke and I will clean it up. Once Adam and Ukulele and I, all three of us, hand off on how the document sits, then it comes back to here on stream. We do layout. Once the layout is done, we come back here on stream again and find all the spaces in the text on the page where there's holes for us to then fill in with illustrations. So we're developing it here. We're not actually doing final writing nor editing on stream, but we would then loop back around, and then once it's done with the actual word text, we'll drop it in and start building the layout, the page dressing, the fonts, the color, the stylization, whether it's going to be portrait or landscape style, layouts, illustrations, publish, and then the whole thing will be cover to cover, 100% free preview, just like all my other books are. And you can check down the DM's Guild list, link down below, to see a slew of books, about 200 some odd pages, I guess, maybe about 200 pages of free content there. So you can see how I do so across all the different books. So you can see, like, you know, I'm an illustrator, I develop stuff, and you can read all my junk. So what's been the biggest feedback in the playtest so far? Biggest feedback in the playtest so far has been it's incredibly smooth and natural. If you know how to play 5e, the system totally works for you. The harshest criticism, which might be the actual question, the harshest criticism of the system is that there's a lot of content in the book. It's super easy to explain it verbally in comparison to reading all of it, which is why we have to go through another draft writing to make it more natural, more easy to understand, because D&D wasn't designed for mass combat. It wasn't designed for big ships. It wasn't designed for fighting battles at 10 million miles per hour while still operating inside of a grid square. They want you to drop into theater of the mind and try to backline the fight as much as you can so your characters can stay up in front where all the mechanics are for you to be heroic. We just had to be clever about building stuff and trying to use the resources that are available to us. And we were able to do it, but it takes a lot. And the other challenge is it's real easy for me to see how you can scale in and out of a combat scenario, and it's easy for me to build scenarios that players can go through, but we have to finish writing up the section about how do you build stuff for us to be able to see if we are successfully teaching people through this book, like a text, how to look at it. I don't know how good we're going to be at this. How you can look at a scenario and just eyeball it to say, yeah, I could actually pan this out to 50 feet and do this with it instead, or I can pan this out to 500 feet and approach this scenario from a different direction. Or while I'm operating at that 50-foot scale, here, and here are 3 points where we can spend 3 rounds of combat at the 5-foot scale for your character to do individual class feature stuff before needing to scale back out again and traverse under conflict to another location where you can scale back in again. That's a lot of metadata crunch for a DM in a game system that is designed to be light and loose and easy to run. So I acknowledge that the problem is there. So our job needs to be to get to a place where a DM doesn't need to listen to me for 20 or 40 or 700 minutes to really just wrap their head around how they can use the system to flesh out all that connective tissue inside of the 5e game system that doesn't exist until this gets published. So yeah, there's a lot of content there. So we're doing our best, and God willing, we're gonna nail it. Muses bless us all. But so the mechanics for making an attack roll when you're commanding a crew of gunners on a siege machine, just like any other command that you give, is a verbal action, plus you could spend a standard action, plus you could spend a bonus action to potentially attack 3 times in a round. Or if you have multi-attack options, like a fighter, for instance, instead of that standard action, you can make an attack each round. So you can potentially, at 20th level, have a verbal action, a bonus action, and then 4 attack actions. You can potentially, more realistically, at 17th level, you're going to be able to attack 5 times. And with a with a siege weapon that's doing D12 times 10 damage, you're basically operating on the 5-foot scale. Instead, you're operating at the 50-foot scale, and it feels identical to my character walks up to my enemy and I attack 5 times. So I just make my command die roll, which is a D20, and at that scale I'll be like, say, a D12 and then plus 5. And your armor class maybe is 25 or something on that ship, right? So I'm probably gonna hit you. Here's where this refresh mechanic, this recharge mechanic comes in. So if each weapon can automatically fire once per round. So if I'm overseeing a trebuchet team and I have them fire your trebuchet, great, they fire their trebuchet. If it's an untrained crew, that is that they are done. they are incapable of loading the weapon any faster than that. If there are, like, say 3 or 4 or 5 trebuchet on my ship, I could then use each action to command each individually. Trebuchet A, B, C, D, E, all of you fire. But most of these ships only show having like 2, maybe 4 weapons. Like the Scorpion ship has a mangonel, 2 ballistas, and then it has grappling claws. So it has 4 weapons on its 50 foot by 50 foot, 80 foot by 50. We're gonna look at the ships later, make sure I have the sizing right on these. But there are small little tanks, really compact, lots of weapons on them. But like, even the Hammerhead ship only has 3 weapons on it. Now they're generally designing these things, and always have since the 80s. So basically, you've got one character that's going to be on the Spelljammer helm, and then you've probably got 3 or 4 other characters that are around the ship. So you don't really need more than 3 or 4 weapons on your ship. And the smaller your ship is, the more realistically it is for us to reduce the amount of weapons that are on that ship. A Lithid, I think like the Lithid. Well, they have their tentacles, which is a lot of grappling attacks. So super bad news there. They can do a lot of grapples with those weapons. And but they also otherwise only have, I think, like maybe I think 2 ballistas and 2 catapults. We'll look at the floor plan. But for the most part, I don't think there's a ship that has more than 5 weapons on it, unless it's like a unique weapon, a unique ship. So one character could potentially command all the weapons on a single ship and eat up their action economy. And then you got your pilot, which is using object interaction, standard action, bonus action to move like a rogue on the battlefield, using dodge and disengage as standard or bonus actions, where object interaction replaces the move action because the vehicle is not alive. You have to will it to go, so that's your free object interaction each round to drive the ship, to give you that complete control if you're attuned to it. And then you potentially got 3 or 7, God willing, God please, people, keep your crew small. Don't have 7 people playing at your table. Have 2 teams running separate tables. Got 8 people, including your DM? Great. Break that into 2 teams and have one of the 4 be the DM. So there's 2 teams, and then you guys can play for a month and then scuttle your teams and scuttle your DMs. Just do a bunch of one-shots until you guys naturally settle into 2 piles where everyone's got like we like doing a lot of exploration and social stuff, or we like doing a lot of tactical combat. These 2 are separate teams. You can love each other, you can mix it up occasionally, but you should really keep an eye on. You shouldn't have a team that's 7 people on it. It's not realistic. Not everyone's going to have something interesting to do on these ships. You've got all the rules in your party covered. It's really difficult to keep people off of their cell phones, even if you're using group initiative. Group initiative is awesome because it lets you have everyone coordinate what their decisions are going to be before they actually roll everything out. Like, you can have people like, I want to close distance with this, I want to fire on that ship, I want to fire on that ship, and I'm going to cast animate objects so I can get a cloud of daggers going, so that when they close distance with us, I can start peppering their field. The jammer pilot is waiting for the enemy to close distance so that they can use the ram for making melee attacks. So, sometimes the jammer pilot will have more or less things to do, just like people that are working ballistas will have more or less things to do, depending on how far or close the ship is to them to be within range. And they got to just switch up what they're doing. So, the attack happens when here's that recharge. So you're gonna have to spend your actions, right? You can do up to, like, say 5 actions to make an attack, to attack 5 times with the ballista crew, if you can get your crew to do it. If you have 5 ballistas laying around, you can have each team do 1 action that eats up your action economy, and your ship is firing off a crap ton of flak into space. But if you have multiple people and you're getting up in level, then again, we have that Hammerhead ship, for instance, that has 2,500 hit points on it. Well, if I'm going to fire 5 ballistas this round, and each one's going to average around 20 hit points if they hit, then that means that I'm going to do 100 hit points on that hit. And I've got 3 other guys with me that are making, say, an extra 100 hit points a hit themselves. That's just using a ballista at D4. I'm supposed to be using a D12 because we're talking 5th rank. A hammerhead ship at 5th rank, 500 times 250 divided by 50 equals 5. 2,500. D12 is what we're supposed to be using, which is going to be roughly even like with only at that scale, you're almost guaranteed to hit. Jesus. So it's going to be like maybe 200 hit points. It's going to be 50. It's going to be 50 per hit, and if you got 5 of these things on you, that's 250 hit points from your character per round using just using siege machinery if you have 5 of them. If you have your full economy to be able to use all of them. So that means that one character, like one good martial character, a good fighter at 5th rank is going to be able to knock down a 2,500 hit point hammerhead ship in 10 rounds. But there's 2 other characters that are going to be on the board with you, plus the Spelljammer pilot occasionally taking making attacks with ram. So you potentially got, say, a paladin with you, and the paladin's going to have dual, 2 attacks per round, and say you've got a cleric that only has 1. That cleric is still going to be able to make 3 attacks per round using a verbal action to command the weapon team to automatically attack, and then you've got your verbal, your bonus action, and your standard action. So even the cleric or like a sorcerer is going to have 3 attacks per round with a siege weapon. And then like the paladin with 2 attacks per round is going to be able to make 4 of them. So between, say, a paladin, a fighter, and a sorcerer, you're going to have what? 5, 4, 3, 12. 12 attacks per round, which is just normal 5e, which isn't much different from 5e combat. I mean, it's pretty good action economy for a cleric to be able to fire 3 times. But alternatively, they would be making a movement on the battlefield, making a tactical decision. They would be perhaps casting a spell, and then using their bonus action to like spiritual hammer or whatever it is that clerics do at 17th level with their bonus action. But the action economy is the same for them. Just like a 17th level fighter is still going to attack 3 times, probably has a bonus action shenanigan they use. God forbid they actually action surge, because that counts too. And then they'd have their tactical movement on the battlefield. So the action economy, the time spent resolving combat, is generally the same or faster than what your character could do. Because if your only option is fire all weapons, skip turn, quaff a potion, that's pretty fast. That's like first level, second level character stuff. So it's pretty fast to resolve these things. But with 12 attacks, D12s being tossed out, averaging around 50 hit points per pop, that's 600 damage per round that your team is putting out on one of these Spelljammer ships if each character is commanding only 1 siege machine. So most 200 more foot vessels have at least 3 weapons on them that you can do this with. So you can knock down a 5th rank vehicle at the 250, like a 250 foot hammerhead ship. Your team's going to be doing 600 damage per round. In 4 rounds, you can knock out that ship. That's pretty normal for like the length of time that you should have a fight. But you don't always have to be fighting 5th rank hammerhead ships. You can instead have 6 or 7 2nd rank scorpion ships, or like 15 1st rank shrike ships that are only going to have like 200 or 300 hit points apiece. So your team is going to be able to knock one out of the sky, 1, maybe 2 of them around, which is about the same clip that you're going to be moving through enemies. Like if you get flitters involved that sit inside of just a 50 foot by 50 foot scale, and you just put a crappy goblin in there, he's only going to have 50 hit points. You just shoot it and it's dead. So, but it's eating up your action economy. So you send a flood of flitters at at a ship, and then you back it up with the cruiser that's starting to drop. It's dropping trebuchet fire at three spaces out, while you have this flood of fighter ships. Why do you have fighter ships? So that they can do opportunity attacks if your ship attempts to move out of space into another area. Like, okay, so if you've got your carrier ship here, right? It's like, say, 400 feet long, and it drops a bunch of little flitter ships that are each 20 feet by 20 feet. You can fit 5 of them inside of a 50-foot square. You might get where I'm going here. At the 500-foot square we're operating at, you can fit 50 flitters inside of a 500-foot square. So you got your carrier ship here, and he just dumped like 50 flitters, and here they come at your ship. All these flitters are first-ranked little flitter ships. They only got 20 feet by 20 feet. They're you know, if they're goblins, they're probably suiciders. But if they're like the old school elven flitter ships that just hang off of the wings of these armadas, armada ships were 300 feet long, and they had this hard beam. They were monarch butterflies. So like they would look like this. Like, here's the body of the ship. They'd have these wings here, and they'd have wings here. So like overhead, they'd look like, you know, they'd look like monarch butterflies, like this, right? But when you look at the ship, the way that it was built, it was like this, and it had this hard beam on it that it can then hang all of these little all these like little 10-foot, like horse-sized flitter ships on, which we would call flying infernal machines, that all sit inside of a 50-foot square. Like, most of them are gargantuan or smaller. Like the beefy ones, the demon grinders, are 20 feet by 20, like 20 feet by 15 feet, like really big trucks. But you can hang 50 of them off of the bow of this 300-foot wide, like it's the size of a football field. How many trucks could you park side by side in a football field? That's how the Armada was built. So when the Armada would kick off all these flitters, you can fill a 500-foot square. So this Armada becomes 2 threats. One is melee range, where it's staying up close and on your face. And so if you attempt to close distance with the actual carrier ship, it can hit you. It can be here. So it can maintain this 1, 2, 3, this 1,500-foot range with trebuchet. And if your characters don't have a bunch of trebuchets, you have to close the red one. You have to close distance, get past these flitters so you can be 1, 2. But to do that, if we scale in, this is the 500-foot scale, so this is a 500-foot scale map, right? And you are in, say, you're in your hammerhead ship that's 250 feet. That's a flitter ship, 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 that's a flitter ship. In fact, that's a 50-foot scale. This can be 10 flitter ships. So you've got these little flights of like TIE fighters coming at you. And they're coming down at your hammerhead ship. And you've got your hammerhead ship, right? And you've got your ballista on the back rank here, and you've got like a trebuchet. Like, you got a trebuchet here on the back end, you got like a ballista here and a ballista here. And you've got these squads of flitters that are coming at you. You got to resolve all of those dudes. At this 50-foot scale, if you try to get out of this 50-foot scale away from these flitters so that you can come over here and maneuver your ship around to move into a different square or through their square to be able to get within range so that you can use your mangonels or get adjacent to it so you can use your ballistas, you have to contend with these flitter ships at this 50-foot scale. Your pilot has to use a bonus or a standard action to disengage to get out of this area to be able to then use an object interaction to move. There you go. If you aren't eating up your action economy, getting out of this 50-foot scale into the 500-foot scale so you can close distance to use your trebuchets. If you try moving out of here without using disengage, then all these ships get free hits on you. they get to make their opportunity attacks. That's why these zones work, is scaling in and out at 50 feet. And then at this 50-foot scale, you know, you've got your deck, and you've got your mangonel here on the deck, and here's the 5-foot scale. And these things are like 20. It's like it's 25 feet wide, and you got your mangonel fitting inside of a large foot space, so it actually fills up this much area. And here's your deck at 25 feet wide, so you can scale in from this 50-foot scale. You can scale into the 5-foot scale, and here's my actual character at the 5-foot scale, and I am now lobbing a fireball. Let's say clean up my screen a little bit. Let's have my wizard, who's here on the deck at that 5-foot scale we just showed, and he is going to say throw a chain lightning over here, so it can go path, 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 and just nuke through all these little guys. That's a really good use of a 7th level spell slot or 8th level spell slot for a wizard at the deck at the 5-foot scale, lobbing that thing here at the 50-foot scale, so that you can clear the deck. So you can bring your hammerhead ship here to the 500-foot scale, so you can maneuver through this mess of debris to be able to then fire on the carrier ship with your mangonels to get within reach. Now it's just dumping weapons on you. That's a tough fight. But that's how this combat system works. So the way that you can get multiple attacks with these siege weapons using that scaling factor, this only has a reload of 3. So when you make your attack roll, say at 3rd rank, you're rolling a D8 plus your D20 plus 3, or your charisma modifier if you spent the feat for like plus 4. Or maybe plus 5 if you got to that point. When you make your attack roll, we're going 3rd rank right now. It's going to be, so let's write it down and be visual for you guys. It's going to be siege weapon, let's see, the reload rate, reload equals the recharge, the target recharge number on the command die. Reload is the target number on the command die during an attack roll. Okay, so what that means, that's probably not the best way to write it, but for now, that's where we're at. Design content, yo. So what this means is that if you're rolling a D8 on your command die, because you're, say, 10th level, that's 3rd rank, 9 to 12 is 3rd rank. So you roll a D8 plus your D20 plus 3rd rank is 3. That's how you make your attack roll, which is going to average, what, 17? On the average, it's going to be a roll of 8. You're going to average an 18. 13, 16, 19, that's about a 50% chance of you hitting 3rd rank pilots that are maneuvering ships to avoid you, because their armor class goes from 13 to 16 to 19 to 22 to 25. It's amazing how the command system attack ranks stay in pace. So if you're always fighting at the rank you're supposed to be at, you're always roughly rolling average numbers on your command dice. Roughly a 10 on the D20 plus a 4 on the D8 plus your 3 is going to get you to a 17. And your armor class that you're trying to hit is a 19. You know, it's round up, so it's 0.5, so it's 10.5 and 4.5 plus 3 is 18. So you're like one shy of hitting it. So you're like roughly a 45% chance of hitting, which is a good number. Which you've got a roughly a 60-65% chance of hitting, which is a good place to be. So when you roll your command die, so what happens? You use your action economy under normal circumstances with recharge up above. I think it's like around page 34 that it has it. I'm not going to bother going up there because it's easy to explain. I explained it earlier. You can spend an action to attempt recharging, like a breath weapon, for instance. You can roll it, like it automatically can recharge on a 5 or higher. The default die is a 6, but using the command system, use a larger die. You can spend an action to increase, to re-roll the recharge die, and if you're successful, then the creature can now use action economy to do that. What we're doing is we're simplifying that process, and we'll need to fix the document up above because I literally only realized this earlier today, and I haven't had a chance to go into the master document yet to fix everything. But the way that this works is that you're going to have to roll that command die when you make your attack roll anyway. And under normal circumstances, if you're using an action to recharge a reload mechanic, then if you fail the die roll, you can't attack anyway, but you had to spend the action. Do you see where we're going with this? So to make everyone's life easier, you just make an attack roll. And if the command die isn't high enough result for the crew to recharge the weapon, then your attack roll automatically, it doesn't even miss, it doesn't even happen, because the crew is still being driven to recharge the weapon. You then make another roll, and if they are able, if the command die is high enough to reload the weapon, then now you look at the D20, and then you add your command, your rank bonus. So like I roll I'm trying to load a ballista, the reload is a 3, I'm rolling a D4, a D8, because I'm 3rd rank. Say I roll a 5. 5 is above 3, so that means that my team was successfully able to reload their weapon fast enough to fire it again this round with this command. Now I'm going to look at the D20 die roll and the +3. So I got a 5, a theoretical 5 on the die, a D8, the +3 for my rank, and say I only rolled a 4 on the 20-sided die. That's a total of 5, 3, 4 is 16. And if the armor class, if this is a 2nd rank pilot, that's gonna be good enough to hit. But if it's a 3rd rank pilot, if I'm punching at my rank, or if I'm punching up at a boss that's like 4th or 5th rank with an armor class of 22 or 25, that was a miss. I was able to get my team to reload fast enough because my command die was a 3 or higher, but the D20 and the rest of my modifiers that go into it weren't sufficient for me to hit. That could be easily narrated as the team was in too much of a hurry, they didn't aim properly because they were trying to drive themselves. Hey team, let's just make sure we get it. So instead, maybe next action, you spend an action to aim so that you give your team a bonus, you give your team advantage to roll so they can roll the command die twice, and they can roll the D20 twice, so that they get advantage on the command die check to reload the weapon, because you're spending an extra action to not only get them to reload the weapon with advantage on the command die check, but they also have a higher chance of succeeding because you're taking the time with your team to reload. You see how that works? Here's how it gets better. A default team, an untrained crew, don't have proficiency with siege or martial weapons. So if the weapon outranks the crew, the attack is at disadvantage. And an untrained crew can't fire more than once per round, period. However, if you get a trained crew, you have that they would then have proficiency with siege weapons, or if you have proficiency with martial weapons, you automatically gain proficiency with siege weapons. So that's how that shakes. Easy peasy, fighters know what they're doing. Weapons that outrank them don't impose disadvantage. So a 1st rank crew that's proficient with siege weapons, they know how to work a trebuchet, even though a trebuchet is 3rd rank. So you look down here, trebuchet 3rd rank D8s, 2nd rank D6s, 1st rank D4s. Huge patterns here. The math is all here, and this crew, that's out of the book. Crew, out of the book. Crew, out of the book. It is impossible for you to make a trebuchet fire any faster than once per round unless you are 3rd rank, because you cannot roll a 7 on a D4 or a D6. It takes a 3rd, you have to be rolling a D4, which a D8, just to get that trebuchet to fire more than once. What does that mean? That means that if you're going to have something that's less than a strong commander, like a sorcerer, running trebuchet teams, they're going to have to be 17th level to get that trebuchet to fire more than once. Like, more likely, your wizard, your rogue, your monk, your bard is going to be working lesser weapons. Then, like, you're going to put your fighter on the trebuchet because he's going to be rolling that D12. So he's going to be able to refresh that trebuchet where other people can't. But if you give him a ballista, oh yeah, he's going to crack out. Dude, it's just a big crossbow. Let's go. He can do it himself. Clunk, plump. Clunk, plump. He just fired himself. Here's the kickers. Reload. Target number. A trained crew can fire as often each round as they are commanded, up to the limit. Let's see. A trained crew can fire as often. Let's get rid of that. A trained crew can fire as often as they can reload the weapon. Minimum once per round. A trained crew can fire siege weapons more than as often as they can reload. That's where the period goes. This is us designing on the fly, so witness me, brothers. Reloading more than firing. Reloading requires. I already have it down here. Reload equals the target number on the command die during an attack roll. If the roll is equal or higher than the reload on the target, the team can fire the weapon this action with the attack roll, including the result of the reloading command die as part of the attack. Here's where it gets good. The target, the reload target number is reduced by the rank of the crew, of the gunner crew, so a first rank gunner crew reduces the reload from 3 down to 2. So at first rank, when you're rocking a D4, if you have a trained crew on you, if you have an untrained crew, they can fire once, period, shut up. But if you have a trained crew, then the reload is 2, 3, or 4 on your 4-sided die. So you're more likely than not to be able to fire at least twice a round. Okay, so that sounds too easy, right? So here's the kicker. For each crew member missing, increase the reload target number by 1. So your ballista is supposed to have a crew of 3, but if there's only 1 crewman on that ballista team, then that reload goes from 3 down to 2 because they're trained, up to because there's 2 guys missing equals a reload of 4. Is that too complicated for people to suss through? Because you could be losing people on a round-to-round basis. The mechanics are good, but are they too crunchy for people to have fast fun with it? It makes it worth targeting people on the cruise. Like, you want to shoot people on a weapon cruise so you can slow down their rate of fire. And your character can always go in and replace their own action economy, or you can have troops in reserves to take their movement to come in and then use their action to operate as a squad to replace it. So you're using you're using crew mechanics, you're using the reload mechanics that are the recharge mechanics that already exist inside of the game, and it curves smoothly into the ranking, making a difference, and it plays into that. The word I'm looking for is morale check. You aren't going to lose morale of this gunner crew unless they're a higher rank than your character, and then in which case they won't be able to perform. They'll be able to act quote unquote independently, which is they're just going to be able to fire once per round until you can motivate them or renegotiate contract with them to fire at a faster rate, and then just once per round. So that's the quick skinny of the new mechanics that we have. So like a trebuchet team, if it's third rank, if you have a third rank squad working a trebuchet, so if you've got a fifth rank squad that's working a trebuchet, then that reload rank is going to drop by 5. It only takes a 2 or higher, say on a D8. Most likely you're going to be able to fire that trebuchet multiple times. But if I start shooting people off of that team, and I whittle that trebuchet down from 7 to 6, that 2, missing 6 people, now becomes an 8 on my D8. Chances are I'm only going to be firing once a round, and it's going to be a waste of actions for me to try to fire any faster than once per round. So that's the action economy that goes behind that. So that's all I had to say about the in-command system. So let's take some time and just play around inside the book a little bit more. Now that we know how this system operates, like you understand how the main command system works. Like if I can get the trebuchet to fire 3 or 4 times per round, then I'm going to be able to do like around 100 to 120 points of damage to anything that I hit. So it doesn't take that long for me to be able to tear apart. That's a first rank dragon ship, damselfly. That's a first rank damselfly just knocked right out of the sky. So I mean, you can. That then speaks to a DM building the CR system. What rank of creatures are you having them fight? How does that scale? Those are all that math we can break down using incredible math in the DM section. So I'm going to take a moment to grab some drink. Yeah, give me a hot second here to BRB into some coffee here real quick, because I've been talking a lot. So BRB 5 minutes. So I'll be right back, guys. Grab some coffee, gonna be back in a minute. Stick around, like, subscribe, check out the books I have on DMsGuild. They're all 100% free preview for you to look at how I do work. The playtest content that you're looking at there is on our Patreon page, which is free to view as well. Just go ahead and take a look over there. Got this brown sugar coffee the other day at Whole Foods, and by God, it's amazing. So, let's see. Hey, gotta go. Hey, man, thanks for hanging out, dude. I really appreciate you being around. Thanks for sticking with me. Everything's looking real cool so far. Loving what I'm seeing. Hoping to have a good night. Hey, thank you. Sleep well. Study strong. Be good. Thanks for being here, man. I really appreciate you. I'm going to bio real quick, and we'll be ERB. We'll keep at it. Man, I'm excited about this. What a cool book. Being a content creator is great because you never really begrudge how much or little work that Wizards provides for us to be able to produce content, because that's just an opportunity for us to tell our own tale. So God bless you, Wizards, for doing, I mean, seriously, they're just providing just enough for us to be able to do what we need to do. Get the thing out the door and make it work. They don't need to tell us how to tell our own stories. Almost there, stay on target. All right, let's get back to this, yo. All right, let's check out the content. From now on, the adventure makes no assumptions about which ship the characters are traveling on, but it is important for the characters to be together. That's not true. Like I said, each character can command their own squad. Just depends on how many of these ships you're able to round up and how you want to divide them. You can easily have each character controlling a flight of crew on each of their ships and having well, I'm not surprised, but wish there had been, and we'll probably see 40 versions of it tomorrow. A walkie-talkie, a better sending stone that maintains connection, or like if you have like an orrery on your ship, for instance, you should there needs to be something that allows you to communicate from ship to ship, because they can be pretty damn far apart. Like you should be able to have like line of sight communication with something that doesn't exist inside the game. So we'll have to. I mean, like I said, there's gonna be 50 of them, like this time tomorrow. So. That's some pretty low-hanging fruit. I don't really need to be the first to market on that sort of stuff. Like, that's the kind of crap that, like... Anyway, it's gonna get there. So, God bless everyone that decides to do it. I'll probably do it too. Just to round out the book. But I could also just pick the best and then bundle this with it. I'd honestly kind of rather do that. So we'll see how that shit shakes out. But okay, great. So what are we doing? Beep, 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 beep. Next chapter. Saviors of the multiverse. That's us. Look at that salvation happening right in front of us. That is real-time salvation. Space Invaders. Isn't that funny? Gith Yankee Knight is hunting my players in the Astral Sea. So what are we doing over here? I guess we're assembling. We assemble a fleet. We kick through Astral to Zarzi space. If the characters attack the knights and the dragons retaliate by burning their ships with their breath weapons. So this is just a random. Why would you fight her? What purpose is that? A bad joke on my part. I wish you swift passage through Her Majesty's realm. My dragons and I are hunting mind flayers. Have you seen any? That is a nothing burger. You could pick up a dragon, I guess, and we'll have to look in the adventure to see how big these dragons get. But like the Tarask, for instance, fits in a 50-foot by 70-foot space, which is 2 squares, 50 by 50, 50 by 100. That's the space that it fits inside of. So we'll see how big these things are. Attacking the Citadel. This is where we want to be. We have up to potentially 25 ships, which is 5, which could be as little as 3 500-foot squares. But it could be it could be 25 separate 500-foot squares, except that they would only be, inside that large space is like a little ship. So it's best that when you're doing this, that you space out the forces that you have in the scale of square to make sense with the ships that you're using, and we'll see if we can suss that out. We had previously looked at like 6 ships inside each 500-foot square. So there's 4 ships that characters each pilot 1, or we could collect all of them into a 2x2, a 1,000-foot by 1,000-foot squad, a 2x2 space that could easily accommodate all those ships, and the team works together on one flagship in the middle, and just coordinates actions using this fictitious orrery communication system that Wizards didn't provide for us. That's why it said in the last chapter it's important to stay together, because you're not high enough level to have Rory's telepathic bond, and sending stones are once per day, and message doesn't make it to the next square. So you could be using Skywrite. I recommend that. Or one of the 500 artifacts are going to be on the DMsGuild next week. So we're attacking the Citadel. When characters come within 1 mile of the Imperial Citadel, and again, if we're operating at the 500-foot scale here, where I've got 10 ships in a square, and I've got this squad here, 1, 2, 3, 4, this large footprint, the 500-foot scale. This is 1,000 feet by 1,000 feet. It's a large squad of ships. You are here. That means that this is a mile. So this is a mile. This is 10 miles. This is 100 miles. This is 1,000 miles. This is 10,000 miles. This is 100,000 miles. This is 1,000,000 miles. This is 10 million miles. Each one of these squares is 100 million miles. So that means with the 100 million miles, 100 M. Here's the edge of the sphere that you come into. And then 1 day, 2 day, here's the Citadel. Here's the 3rd planet, 2nd planet, 1st planet. So here's the sun. So here's how we draw these things. this. One day, 2 days, 3 days. 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. Yeah, you come into the system and something like this. This is a solar system. This is a crystal sphere using the in-command system. So here's your central star. Here's, so that was 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, and then 5 is the edge of the crystal sphere here. Easy peasy. So, when your characters hit the edge of the bubble, they cross from Astral. How easy this is, wizards. One, two, 1, 2. I just could be 2. If you here, there you go. 1, 2. That works. That's 2. So that works in orbit there, and this works in orbit here. So what would an orbit like these things look like? 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. 1, 2, 2, 2. Yeah, that works. That works. So be like here and here and here and here is the rough grain of it. Seasons. Or I mean, the season might be very short, but it's still just 4 seasons to that planet. This one is different because you can go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And 3. 1 square, 2 square, 3 square. I am not a fan of hexes because we do combat on grids, on square grids. If D&D did combat on hexes, then the in-command system would use hexes. But the in-command system is designed to scale combat up from the 5-foot scale to the 100 million mile scale. So it's it has to all be grids, otherwise it doesn't. It all has to be square grids, otherwise it doesn't make sense. So you have this more squarish granular effect going on, but it is necessary to do it that way for the in-command system to work. Hex crawls don't have to be hexes, and there's honestly a strong argument that you actually have north, northeast, west, east, west, northwest, north. You actually have better compass direction if you use grids over hexes. if you are willing to just ignore the fact that diagonals are truly a longer distance Pythagoras. It is relevant. This thing is so great. I didn't make this thing. It was just given to me by the muses. I mean, I had to write it. And Ukulele Bard came up with a lot of the solid, like the die roll and how to permutate that die roll. That's Ukulele Bard. Cheers to you, buddy. But once we cracked that nut, the whole system's just flowed freely. It has been a gift. And just an utter gift. This. For some reason I care about this. Oops, nope, that's supposed to be 1. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. Where did you go? Give me the bits. I demand the bits. There you go. There's the space in a nutshell. Put you here. Oh. There you go. That's a fun little screenshot. This system's so cool. One, two, three, four. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Hold on. Okay, so 1, that's 100 million miles from the sun. 2, 2 days from the sun. 3, 3 days from the sun. 4, no. Oh, also 3 days. Ah, that's where my brain broke. Smaller. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I can keep those lines. Four. Hey guys, welcome back. Got lost there for a minute. Sorry. Merge down. Leave it like that. Zerixis. I think it's Zerixis. Imperial. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna do that one more time because I hate myself. One. Yeah, you know what? I hate that. I hate my handwriting, is what I hate. Give me a minute, let me sort this stuff out, and we'll get out the door and we'll get back on with our day. One. There we go. This is what we were trying to do. Let's go with... There, that's easy enough. So if you're on my Twitter, you have this image now. So you can start running your own command campaign in... whatever. So let's go back to the dock and just keep playing. Is this where we want to be? Attacking the Citadel. Okay. Characters come within 1 mile of the Imperial Citadel. Read. Oh yeah. At the 1 mile scale. So we already know that 500 foot versus 500 foot is how you're going to run squads of 5 to 20 ships. And we already know that we can scan out to the 100 million miles per square so that you have 1 square per day, or if you want to have a larger space crawl, you can do 10 squares equals a day, but that gets big quick. So you can only have, each square is an inch, you can only have like 3 days of travel time. So it's better just to do a single square. So that's 1 day, that's 2 days, that's 3 days. So you can measure if you're in a map, like if you're doing astral, like if you're doing astral surfing or whatever, you can have this being a 10-day block of thought that you're traveling through, and you can have all sorts of like dead gods be here, and here be Githyanki, and you got some Flotsam over here, and then you've got my playtest Descent into Avernus over here. So if you want to get from here in astral space to my playtest, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You want to go 11 days to my Patreon link down below, and it gives you a free link to all of this content that we're looking over right now. Here's all the mechanics for Spelljammer, and it totally works using the command system. So chew on it, digest it, fall in love with it. Once we have it built, we'll take this playtest down and we'll replace it with real words and real editing and real charts and real structure, and then we will build it out. Layouts here on stream and artwork here on stream, and then we'll publish it on DMsGuild, and the whole thing will be cover to cover, 100%. You can read the whole thing and decide after you play in Spelljammer, after you decide to be in command of Spelljammer for a couple seasons. Maybe you'll buy the book because you appreciate the work that we've done. I want to check the quality of my work, check the link down below, the DMsGuild link. All the books there are also cover to cover, full preview. All the work that I publish is that way. I want you to be able to use the content. Paywalls are for suckers. Just do it. Just build it and they will come. So I want to give Wizards of the Coast what's due to them. Their Spelljammer, their Magic the Gathering, their 5e. I will happily build inside their game space and give them a cut of the pie. I'm cool with that. I love OBS for what they have done. Fantastic company, high support. But so just check this stuff out. So let's see. So yeah, we get the 1 mile scale, right? So there's the 500 foot scale to have all your ships flying in, but then this could be 10 miles across. So this is 1 square. So like you see the Citadel here. That's 1, 2, 3. That's 3 miles away. But if these are 500 feet a piece, like you're flying in your 3 characters or your 4 characters are flying through Zarax's space. You get into this square and the next square. Bump, 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 Citadel of Doom. This is a 1 mile square. That's a 500-foot scale here. Let's find out more about the Citadel. Ahead you see an elegant crystal spire city built on the back of an asteroid shaped like a moth, with shipyards sprouting from its wings. Atop the moth's head stands a magnificent temple. A beam of light stretched from a crystal top the temple toward the bright white star Zaraxis. An armada of crystal-winged ships patrols the region between your fleet and the Citadel. The closest enemy ships is about 1,000 feet away. So I'm reading this situation correctly. Good for me. So we're dealing with an armada ship. God bless them, because I freaking love. We were just talking about those flitters and stuff. So this is all falling nicely into place, don't you think? 1,000 feet away is the closest one. So these guys are inside of the Armada's command zone, inside this square. So the closest patrol you have is this one right here of flitters. Oh man. So let's see, the Armada's. Let's see, an armada of crystalline ships patrol the region between you and the fleet. We could have one. We could have another flit squad there, another flit squad here, another flitter squad here. It said it was flying around. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm gonna space this stuff out just a little bit more. Yeah. Something like that. I don't have this guy. Just trying to find something that feels organized but almost random, you know? That feels pretty good. So yeah, you got these 10 footer squads. Burp. You got your team cruising in with your armada here. All y'all are operating at the 500-foot scale. The enemy armada consists of 30 star mobs, each one crewed by an Astral elf honor. So each one of these, instead of 10, we can put 5. You guys have probably 5 per square, so let's give these guys 5 per square. So that gives them 6 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 6. And so by the time your team hits the edge of the border here, that's 500. All I gotta do is push this guy one bit further, pull him back a bit to here, shift him back to there. There you go. So that's your squad setup. You've got 5 flitters per ship. You got Hero 1, Hero 2, Hero 3, Hero 4. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. You guys are 8th level. That means you're 2nd rank. So these guys should probably be launching mangonels at you, but we'll see. How do we build a star moth? Yep, mangonels. Did I call that or what? Mangonels and catapults. Yep, nailed it. Completely called it. It's like the structure is there and they don't even see it. Either that or I've accidentally resolved or completely decoded whatever board game it is that they're supposed to be coming out with Dragonlance in November. I don't know, man. Maybe they came up with this. Maybe I'm on the same wavelength as Wizards of the Coast, and why they don't hire me, I have no idea. I'll just keep saying my resume and all this stuff, and they'll eventually pick me up, or they don't. Who knows? I don't even know if I want the job. We'll see. Anyway, I'm obviously exhausted because I'm talking about Wizards hiring me. No, seriously, I've applied 3 times. I like keep sending my stuff. Like, here's the stuff that I'm building. You guys interested in working with me? And like crickets. Like, okay, I'm literally right down the street. You don't even have to remove me. I'm super easy, barely an inconvenience. Let's see, but no, that's fine. I'll just do my own. Let's see. Given the number of ships and combatants on both sides, it is impractical to track everyone's movements and actions. Instead, narrow the focus of the conflict to the character's ship and the Xeraxia. In between actions, you can narrate glimpses of what's going on in the larger battle. For example, stray ballista bolts whizzing past the character's ship, or an Arctic lamprey ship clamping onto a passing star moth. Although the Xeraxian ships are united in their determination to defend the Imperial Citadel, the crews have different political loyalties, one or the other. Maybe you can win the day with a charisma check. Huh, maybe we could. Battle losses. Each round on initiative count 0, the Doom Space Coalition and the Xeraxian Armada each lose 1 ship and its crew. So, 20 ships, 20 rounds. Or 30, I guess, for the moths. In addition to any ships and crews defeated by the characters, keep track of how many ships are left in the battle at the start of each round. Oh, neat. Looks like some NPCs are going to come in and rescue the characters. Let's see, challenge rating 9, so they're 3rd rank. They're outranking you by 1, so you should be using Infernal War Machines against these guys. Hit point capacities, 178 hit points. Yeah, Infernal War Machines will be doing like around 12 damage per hit, so these guys could take 15 hits, which is about 3 or 4 rounds of damage from your team. Each, that's not bad, but against ships, D6s, D6 times 10. 3 hits each. There's 7 of them, so that's 21 hits that they can absorb. So it's 2nd rank. Here's a document that's in the playtest content that's linked through my Patreon, which you do not have to be a patron to use. So check it out. Let's see. Let's see. Where were we? 2nd rank, 200, and a Elven Armada. Let's see. 2nd rank is 200. So this would be approximately 2,000 hit points for this square for the characters at the rank that you're at. And if each one of your characters is piloting your own, that's going to give your squad a total of 8,000 hit points. And then so against these Elven Flitters, the Flitters are, the Star Moths. Let's see. Let's go look up Star Moth real quick, just to make sure we have our math right. 200 feet. So 400 hit points if you're first rank, which matches here, but it doesn't scale up with levels like we do with our equipment. So 400 feet is a 4x4 is a 400 feet. No, 200 feet. Thank you. So if this is 50 feet, this is 400 feet here. Get out of that guy's space. That's 200 feet. Is that what we are? 200 feet? 50, 100, 150, 200 here. So that's a gargantuan 4x4 space that's occupying. So using the mechanics of in command, we know that these are second rank vessels. So these all also have 2,000 hit points apiece. Because we're at the 500 foot scale, not the 50 foot scale, so we multiply it up by 10. We have there's 6 flitters. There's 5 flitters in each squad, and each flitter has 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 400, 800 hit points. 800 hit points. Times 5 is what? 4,000. Yeah, 8 times 5 is 4,000. So let's make sure that math works. 4,000. Let me erase all that stuff. Oh, no, that doesn't work. 200. No, yeah, it would be Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Five. 200 each. No, it's 400 each. Okay, 400 times. Yeah, 400 times 5. It's 2,000. Okay, I thought I was crazy there for a second. Yeah, 5 ships per squad, and yeah, so that's 2,000 each. Jeez, McCrow, thank you. That makes sense. And so this squad, if you have your squad attack if you have your 5 ships all attack as a squad together as well at the 500 foot scale, your ballistas aren't doing D6 times 10, they're doing D6 times 100. So on average, each shot you're going to be doing 300. Your fighter is going to have 2 attacks. It's going to have a bonus action and is going to have a verbal action to command his crew. That's 4. On average, he's going to about 60. He's going to do 2, 4, 1,200, but he's going to have about 65. That's just the average at the 600. So he's probably going to be doing around 1,000 points of damage per round. So your team, if each of you are commanding one, you could probably mop up this battle of what was that? 2,000 of 10,000 damage, and you're dealing about 1,000 per round. So your team can resolve this 4 characters versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the Citadel. You only have 7 combatants on the field here, and you've got potentially 4 squads of characters if you rope up all 20 ships that you could get, but you could also have less. So if you have everything you're supposed to have, your team is probably going to mop up that army in about 3 or 4 rounds, which is perfect. If your team isn't as lucky and doesn't pull in as many ships as the max of 20, then you could have the dragons show up and help out if the team starts looking bad. If after 2 or 3 rounds, if your team hasn't started whittling down the troops, then you probably want to start shaking in a couple dragons. So that makes sense. But yeah, this map is just this is just a first level encounter with 6 goblins. That's all it is. You're doing D6 damage. Each of your teams is doing D6 damage up to 4 times per round. A bunch of flitters that are also doing D6 times. They're going to be doing like 2 attacks each, And they're going to be doing D6 times 100 damage. So they're probably going to do 600 damage a pop. 600 damage a pop. Assuming that they miss occasionally. So it's probably only going to be 400 pop. That's 2,000 damage per round. There's 4 of you. There's 6 of them. The action economy works out that you may lose 1 squad, maybe 2 by the time you sweep through those 6. You could always use the Citadel as a potential like beam attack weapon or something to spruce this up. But this is just the exact same as just like 5 thugs in an alleyway versus your 3rd level characters. Except that you just have better action economy. So like it's not even as complicated as 5th level because there's a lot less actions, but super easy. It's super simple to run this. And they're like, you know, don't bother trying to narrate this. It's like, no, go right ahead. This thing can be over in a matter of moments. So it's your ships move fast, they fly good. This is all within a mile, so you can see all the ships. This is a fast battle, man. You don't have to have this drag out. It's quick. So that's easy. Super, super, super simple. Dragons. It doesn't have to stretch out 20 rounds. It's just like 4 or 5 rounds. You can stretch out a little bit if you want, but you don't want to drag too much. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fast. It's going to be high burn. The dragons also break off their assault if the characters stand on the deck of their ship and brandishes the ring of shooting stars. The dragons have been trained since birth not to harm anyone bearing such a ring. So, the final approach. Even if the characters survive the Xeraxia and the total... What is the Xeraxia? What am I missing about the Xeraxia? Citadel, final approach. There's got to be a, I guess, Xeraxia something around here. Let's see if I can find it in the appendix. Where is the Xeraxia? Two of the stone guys and 2 dragons get to the dragon territory. Even if the characters survive, the Xeraxia. Oh, the Xeraxia, the peoples. Got it. The Xeraxia and the 2 solar dragons. It becomes obvious that the rest of their fleet is doomed. See, they just set you up to fail. Outnumbered, and they automatically are causing attrition of 1 per round, but they have more troops than you can get. So you either lose after 20 rounds or however few ships you have. Okay. We know we can do better. We already did better, so just stick around. If the characters avoid capture and make a break for the Citadel, read the following text. The Imperial Citadel looms large, its crystal spire reflects in the light of the Xeraxis. It is here, the heart of the Xeraxian Empire, that you will decide the fate of your world. Here ends chapter 10. Cool. That's cool. Citadel overview. The Imperial Citadel is the seat of the Imperial family. Emperor, Emperor. God damn, that's so fun. How big are you? 500 foot scale. Isn't that convenient? A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's cool. Just so happens I'm working on a map at the 500-foot scale. Let's see if I can make it fit. Oh, that was what I was trying to do. Let's try that again. Copy image. There we go. Nope, that ain't it. Why are you being so difficult? There. Why? What is going on? This copy image, or isn't it, dude? Thank you. Holy Hannah. Let's go with multiply. Yeah, it's only going to be able to scale it up, so I need to scale it down. That looks about right. Let's see if I am. Nailed it. All right. That, huh? So that's a mile. This thing fits inside of a mile. Here's a 500-foot square. Our ships fit inside a 500-foot square. See how easy this is? I'll redraw this for the final product. I'm just going to steal this for now. It's easy. And let's... And then 2, 3, 4. Then you can squeeze-ish another ship inside there. Oh, wait. So they have 2 ballistas and they have 1 catapult each. So each ship does 2d4 with the ballistas because you can just consult. I'm a DM. I can just roll both those at the same time. And then I have the second attack of the d6 times 10. That's per ship. So this is going to be 2,000 HP, 1d6 times 100. Now, I don't need to have them attack multiple times. Although I can have like one like fleet leader that has a commander that can distribute. Like I could have one commander. The Citadel can command on the per mile scale. It can command both itself as well as the actual fleet of flitters that are facing off against the heroes. So. So like each of these squads will be able to, thank you. Each of these squads will be able to like 1, 2. That's a object interaction. Then 3, 4 to close distance, and now it's going to use dodge, so that you're going to be at disadvantage on all the attacks against it. And it can engage you doing d6 times 100 damage when it does. It makes its attack roll, and then. As a commander down here, the actual Citadel can do its attack action, which would be like anything that gets within this back line here, up to like 1, 2, 3 squares away at the 500-foot scale. That's about the range that you have, but it probably has like this energy beam weapon. Wow, that I can lance out and do ridiculous amounts of damage. Your characters at second rank equals 2,000 HP themselves. Also dealing 1d6 times 100, but they also have attack, bonus, and verbal command. So you have up to times 2, 3, 4 equals 3, 4, attack per round. So you can do a lot. You can even take on the Citadel. It's going to have like that 3rd rank. It'll have 30,000 HP. So it'll be a long time for you to be able to tear the thing down. Each one of these squares will have 300 hit points. So you'd have to tear through, like you could attack like this Citadel here, the Great Orrery. That facility has 300, 600. It's 600. It has 600 hit points unto itself. So you could drop. I mean, you could easily just barrage it for a few rounds and completely destroy it. But then there's the Temple of Light, which in itself is only 1 50-foot square. So assuming it's a 3rd or 4th rank something or another, then it only has 300 or 400 hit points. So once your team gets in on it, you can just start hard dumping, and it's just gonna fall apart. So, but that's how cool this system is, man. It's that easy. It's that easy. So you can be working at that level, and then you could scale into. This is the 50-foot scale. This is a 50-foot scale here. So this is technically 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 here for your flitter ship. Like that. Or then you could zoom into the it's 200 feet long, and this is 5-foot squares each, so that's 50 feet, that's 100 feet, that's 150 feet. You see how ridiculous these ships get so quickly? Just you can't scale into them on a normal map. They're too big. I mean, that is just obnoxiously large for an inch map. So it's tricky. Look at that. It's tricky. Thank you. They multiply and consume everything. Hey-oh, get out of there, turkey. That. There we go. That's pretty good. Zoom back out. Barely fits. That's my fault for only having a that's 3 feet. That's 3 feet on your kitchen table. Just that ship. Like, it's super difficult to do these things at a table. I mean, they look cool, but you have to. Real world applications become difficult that way. You need to have this 5-foot scale, 50-foot scale, 500-foot scale, 1 mile scale to have this whole system working together. So it almost requires a virtual tabletop for you to be able to have an expanding size map that you can have things load into so that you can make these things work. So, but I mean, hey, we got the system. It works, right? Let's do another cheeky thing. This. Sorry, my screen looks. I know my screen looks a little weird. I'm trying to size up something. There we go. Oh wait, I can probably do this a little bit better. Going down here. Fade out that map grid a little bit. There we go. That feels better, doesn't it? Let's capture that screen and post it to Twitter. Jump on my Twitter account, guys, because that's why I post fun stuff like this. There I am. Hey. I don't think I'm using Twitter correctly. Hold on. I'm certain I'm not using it right. I think I'm supposed to do it like this. I think that's how I'm supposed to do this. I don't know how to Twitter. I'm probably not doing it right. I don't know. I probably screwed the whole thing up. I don't know, man. I'm not a genius at this marketing stuff. I'm just trying to build good content, you know. But I think we're almost done. So this thing totally makes sense. I mean, we can bomb the hell out of this, and then we can rate it. Common docks, gardens, great orrery, high quarters, imperial docks. You just carpet bomb all this stuff. Crowning moment. Determined to save their world, the characters traveled to Zarax's space with a fleet of ships at their command, but nothing could have prepared them for the armada of enemy ships and the host of solar dragons guarding the magnificent citadel of the Zarazian's empire. When the battle was lost, hope remains. See, okay, we just won that fight. Like, there's like a 65-70% chance that you're gonna win that fight and take this place by force, which is what In Command does. It takes all of this. You can't possibly win here. Make a charisma check to get out of it. Adventure format of Wizards of the Coast, and converts it into I'm going to punch you in the nose and make you burn. Ooh. The heroes must do battle with Zodar. The character's arrival at the Imperial Citadel coincides with the funeral of Zavan. Jeez. When the characters approach the Imperial Citadel, either as prisoners or on their own ship, read. As the ship draws closer to the Citadel, you can make out thousands of people in the street. The crowds surround the temple of the Citadel's peak. By comparison, the two docking platforms at the tail end of the Citadel seem quiet. Characters who have been taken prisoner are stripped of weapons. If the characters arrive at the Citadel on their own ship, they can tell from a distance that the Imperial docks are guarded, but the common docks are not. Landing the common docks, landing the Imperial docks, exploring the city. Characters who avoid or escape the attention of the escorts can move at the Citadel as they see fit. Emperor's funeral. Temple of Light. Holy Hannah, that thing is freaking lots of squares. Open image. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 500 feet. 500 feet, just like we have it in our bloop. 500 feet. I'm clashing aside. Whatever, we're just cramming stuff in. Who cares? Entering the temple. That. So we could take a crew off of our ship, zoom in at the 50-foot scale, like we're showing here, and you could have your team. You get off your ship, so you get your squad and your 50 by 50 doing times 10 damage. Hut. You can like break through, like you could have defenders against this that you have to fight through. And then once you fight through them, then you can zoom down to the 5-foot scale here. And hut. Here's my character. Hut. It's my character. So that's how the squads work, man. Then you're doing your D8 plus, you know, Pam and Great Weapon Master, whatever you got going on, you crazy dogs. Speak up. Defending. Okay, fine. Astral font is 40 foot diameter, 2 foot deep wool in the middle of the thing. Starbeam. Starlight spellcasting. Trial by combat. Trial by stone. Zadali's favor. Running Zodar. Let's fight. All hail Emperor, whoever wins. Light as an Dying Wish. The Zodar was reduced to 0 hit points in the previous chapter's trial by combat. It regains 1 hit. Oh my! It regains 1 hit point now. Character conscious and 1 hit point. Wake up. Zodar floats into view. Zodar was tasked by a previous emperor to bring about the emperor's destruction. If ever someone to corrupt heart ascended to the throne, Zodar believes that time has finally come, and it destroys them anyway. Huh. Okay, that's cool. Obtaining the ring, life and death. Fate of the Citadel. No, whoa. Okay, and it blows up. And you run away. So, it's, alright. Well. So you didn't really have to show up at all because Zodar was just going to kill the guy anyway. But that's cool. Yeah, that's the adventure. That's pretty hip. We pretty much did the final battle as a 4 characters versus 6 skeletons or 6 elves is basically how that shakes out. So let's just go back through and Adventurer's Guide. Let's just hit some of these ships. So we're gonna make sure we get the right ships built in here. And we can bounce. Get some sleep. Yeah, I just want to make sure I got all the... How big is a bombard? What is it, 140 by 30 equals. Is this all in a row? Because that's super easy. Damselfly. Still 100 by 200. Nice. See, okay, your first rank characters, they can command. If your characters have proficiency in flying ships, you can fly anything. You're fine. However, if you don't have that proficiency in those vehicles, then the size of the ship is going to matter. Whether you're going to be at disadvantage to make piloting checks to like close and increase distances to avoid attack opportunity, to make ram attacks. That's all relevant. So most of these, a lot of these ships are only up to 100 feet long, which is the size of a first rank ship. And then you got second rank, and you only have a couple ships that are third rank at all. So give me a second here. What happened? No, I don't need that. Thanks. There. I should check out the Bombard. Giant cannon. $10d16, huh? Size. Range of an attack. And target piercing damage, 2 ballista. Hit points 50. Yep, ballista's eating up the large area. You have the super cannon. That thing's goofy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So it's about 200, 20, it's 100 feet. So that's 2 by 5. That is 16d10, huh? No, it's gonna be 2d8 times 10. Do ship by rank, jamming speed. What do they call it? Feet by 15 feet. And then the giant cannon. Also third rank. That's just goofy. For reload. I didn't include hit points, but you know, it is whatever it is. 50. There you go. I think that's how that works. Fine, whatever. We'll leave it like that. Does this have 250? Whatever. Let's leave it like it is for now, because why not? Okay. Crew for damage. Range is 600, 2400. Thank you. Two and 5. There you go. There's your giant cannon. Let's see. Where are we at? Here. Bombard resolved. Damselfly resolved. Flying fish. Hammerhead is hammerhead. It's what, 250? Yeah. Lamprey. Oh, we got lampreys in here. That's crazy. Okay. What is lamprey? 115? Okay. Well, just enough's enough. By 25. Still 3. You don't round down in baseball. By 20. Living ship. I don't know. Is alphabetical better than by size? I'm not convinced. I don't know. Okay. That's making more sense. D4 times 10. That's a D4 times 10. That's perfect. You don't need to do 4D10. You can just do a D4 times 10. It works just as easily. D4 times 10. Thirty feet by 5 feet. Let's see, one by one. Hit points. What's your hit point capacity? None. Cool. Tentacle's good. Jeez, crow, that guy's decked out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, and the melee. I was right. So there's no ships that I think at all that have more than 5. The Night Spider. Scorpo, 75 by 25, right? Oh well, Scorpion's not here. Okay. Scorpion ship, claws. Pause deal. What? How big are these things? Let's see. 2 claws. It takes 1 action to make a claw attack. 20 feet. Hits does 2d10. Yep, D4 times 10 has got to be how it be. And it's a squid, so it's got to be 8. I'm going to make that up. Third rank. And let's go through the rest of the ships and look for shrikes. Let's just look for a battering ram and a piercing ram, which we'll have on a hammerhead. And oh, we already had the hammerhead, so we should go back and look at that. Shrike. $100 by 20. Is it also 100 by 20? Shit. Piercing ram. Whew, man, those rams, they hurt. What is that? Times 10, 2d8. 2d8. Times 10. Beep, 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 beep. Foot reach. That works. And let's see, Space Galleon. I think we got that already. Galleon with 30 by 30. Yep. Squiddy. Same. Piercing. Star Moth. Resolved. Turtle. Turtle. Resolved. Tyrant. Is that the last one? Oh yeah, and the Wasp. That's the last one. So let's go back up to the hammer ship to find the blunt ram real quick. Yeah, it's the same. Good. Easy peasy. Let's see what the SL cannons are like. Nee. And then we're done. $60-10. Okay. 120-40. Station in one of the Tyrant's meditation pods. See through the eye by concentrating on it, and use an action to make the following attack: Destruction Ray. How big are these things? Meditation pods are 1. Large. Good shit.
There you go.
That's done. Hey, that's all done. All right, so the document's updated. I can go catch some sleep for my next day. Yeah, so the Zaraxis adventure is pretty easy to convert. The system's moving smoothly now that we have the reload mechanic resolved for the different types of siege weapons. The next time, let's see, we still got some playtesting we're going to be doing this weekend using Infernal War Machines, which are at the 5-foot scaling size, like gargantuan and huge size, which is a mid-step between the 5-foot scale and the 50-foot scale for ships. But ships take up multiple squares at the 50-foot squares, just like Infernal War Machines take up multiple squares at the 5-foot scale. So you can see like the past 4 or 5 episodes of these sessions that we were building out the Infernal War Machines, and we're now doing that testing. I'm looking forward to that testing being done, so then we can come back here and we can do this Zaraxis adventure at 8th level characters doing Zaraxis, making that it's basically a 3 or 4 round fight, so it's pretty freaking easy. So, yeah, okay, hey, that's where we are. Thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. Follow me on Twitter. Check out my books on DMsGuild. They're all 100% preview, cover to cover. Read them all. Run a full 20 level campaign with them before you decide that you love it. This book's going to be the same way. Patreon link has this playtest document on there. Like, subscribe, share. I'll see you online, and thanks for checking it out. Cheers.